Hi folks, I'm John Coulter, aka the Food Busker, and I'm in the most amazing Abel and Cole kitchen, and I've got the awesome Millionaire Chocolate Mocha Tart to blow your minds. Now, Abel and Cole sell my coffee, which is the best specialty coffee from around the world in Nespresso compatible pods. And I'm going to use my intense blend for this tart, which is got a beautiful Arabica, and then it's got a really strong, robuster coffee. It's going to be perfect for this recipe. Now, the first thing that we've got to do is make the pastry. So, 300 grams of plain white flour, sieve into a bowl. Now we've got 50 grams of icing sugar. We'll just sieve that through as well, so there's no lumps. Right, now we've got 175 grams of unsalted butter at room temperature. We're gonna drop that in, and then we're gonna work it through our hands. And just bring all those ingredients together and start pushing it through your hands. We're gonna turn it into a crumb. Now, this recipe, take your time with it. You've got to rest the pastry after this, and then you've got to make your caramel and your chocolate ganache. So get a cuppa on, take your time, and do it for a bit of fun on a Saturday maybe. Okay, so that's come together really nicely, and it should just sort of come off your hands, and it should look just like that. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add just a teaspoon of water, and then we're gonna add 3 egg yolks, and then we're just gonna bring all those ingredients together. And it will stick to your hands to start off with, but then what it does is it starts robbing it back and turns into this nice ball of dough. Oh, look at that. Look at how beautiful the yolks have made that. Got a nice, beautiful yellow mixture. Okay, so drop that back into the bowl, and then we're going to let it chill out for 25 minutes. Right, so that's nice and rested. So a little bit of flour so it doesn't stick to the surface, and then a little bit on top, and then some onto my rolling pin as well. Now, when you roll out the pastry, you need to roll it out, twist, roll it out and twist. That way you're going to get even distribution of pastry, not lumps here and thin there. So, then pick it up, get some more flour on it and twist it. And twist. With the pastry, you don't want to work it too much because it gets really hot and then it becomes a real pain. So get it into your dish, which we've grease-proofed. Just push it into the corners and make sure that you just fit it in. And then the important thing with pastry is that as it cooks, it shrinks. And so trim off, but don't trim off at the top, trim off at the side, allowing it to shrink into the dish. That way you'll have a really nice finish. Now, before you're done, just prick the pastry case just to make sure that it cooks evenly and the heat comes through from the bottom. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna blind bake it, which means that we cook it without a filling. So, I'm gonna use some black beans to cook it with, and that does 2 things. It radiates the heat, so it helps to cook the rest of the pastry, and it also restricts the pastry from rising. That way, there's no loads of bumps or bits like that. So just get your beans and put them in. You spread them around evenly, push them in to the corners. And now we're going to put this into the oven for about 15 minutes at 180 degrees. And then once that's done, we're going to take it out, get rid of the beans and cook it for another 10 minutes. Okay, now this is the exciting bit. We get to make some beautiful caramel. So pan on, nice and hot. We've got 200 grams of golden castor sugar. Let's get that into the pan. When you're making a caramel, you don't want to use a spoon or a whisk. You want to just swirl the sugar as it melts. And remember, you can't put your finger in there or you're going to be in pain. And what you'll see very quickly is that the sugar starts melting. It starts becoming liquid on the outside. As soon as you start seeing that, just swirl your pan. I'm going to take that off the heat. Get ready to add the double cream. Get my whisk and start adding that in. 300 mils of double cream. Keep whisking. It's a little bit scary, but don't worry. And now get your coffee and add that in. And then incorporate everything in. Okay, so just whisk until it's all fully diluted. Now remember, this is molten hot, so don't touch it. Just cook it through and then take it off the heat and let it cool down. Right, pastry case has been in for nearly 15 minutes, so we're just gonna open up and bring it out. Okay, so now we need to just get our beans out. Okay, now let's get it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. Right, now the ganache. So you need a heavy based pan, drop it onto the heat, and then we've got 500 millilitres of double cream. Now we're gonna bring that up to a simmer, and then we're gonna add 200 grams of dark chocolate and 200 grams of milk chocolate. And then once you've added the chocolate, turn the heat off and incorporate it fully with a wooden spoon. Right, that's the ganache done. Let's put it to the side to cool down. So that's the base done. It's nicely cooked through. I'm gonna just put that down, and then we're just gonna trim. So just go round and just cut through. Right, the pastry case has completely cooled down, so now let's get the caramel in. And we're just gonna pour that over the base. Right, now let's set that aside to allow the caramel to set. Right, caramel set, it's nice and firm. Now let's get the ganache on top. Now let's get it in the fridge. Right, okay, so that's our tart that we've left overnight to set. Two things that we've got to do. First is that we're going to take off the rest of the crust. So just cut along, move it around. Don't worry about it not being perfect. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to dust it with cocoa powder. So into a sieve and then just dust all over. So that is my Millionaire Mocha Tart. I should just have a taste because it would be rude not to. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's good. Guys, you've got to try this recipe.